tips that I wish I knew when applying to data analysis positions. I also have a video of the basic skills of a data analyst, as well as how to build experience and my journey of how I became a data analyst here. In this video, I'll be talking about how to create a good resume, how to write a cover letter, no, it's not optional, and how to build a good portfolio. Part of the battle is getting the data analysis experience, but the other is showcasing it in your application materials. Here's the format of a good data analysis resume. First, I put my education. I can also include legit data certificate programs that I've taken, such as from Google, as well as Career Foundry. As I usually mention in my videos, it's not enough just to have the certificate program completed. You also need to have projects that come from it. There are two different resume layouts that you can use. The first one is chronological order, where all your experience is fairly relevant to the data analysis role. And the other is you have a relevant experience section as well as other experience section. The second tip is to have a lot of quantitative metrics to show the impact that you can bring to this next company. This is important to not just put your responsibilities in passive statements, but also show your achievements and your impact for the company. Common format for bullet points is having context, the purpose of the project, and the outcome that you achieved. If you don't have relevant experience, make it relevant experience. You will need to cover the skills of programming, leading projects independently, and presenting your findings to non-technical audiences. For programming, you can learn through online classes or courses and demonstrate these projects on your resume. Most roles have a presenting aspect, and you can write this down on your resume because it's very applicable to the data analyst role. Leading projects in your past teams is something that you should write in your resume. If you have any experience working with data, such as data entry or working with marketing metrics, feel free to include this in your resume. It's also good to write project management skills because data analysts manage these projects from end to end, such as meeting with stakeholders, writing the analysis plan, conducting the analyses in R, SQL, or Python, and then finally communicating the results. Design does matter. You need to highlight your roles and bold important information so that they could easily spot your position and what companies you've worked for. These tips will help you get noticed by recruiters, so hopefully you can get more interviews. I host one-on-one resume sessions where I can help look at your unique experiences and strategize to word them better for data analyst positions. It's the first link in the description below. I've helped over 20 people look at their resume and get data analyst positions that they're interested in. Your cover letter is not optional. You need to have the following. After addressing the hiring manager, you can write the introduction to the position you're interested in and a summary of your qualifications, including your education, for example. The next paragraph should be your main experience that is related to the job description. You need to have context about what you did, the action you took, and the result and outcome it made for the company. A little similar to what you write in your resume, but with more details. In your cover letter, it's just as important to include metrics and the quantifiable impact that you made for the company. It's best practice to write 1 to 2 experiences of the job that you held. This is so that you're not writing all the responsibilities that you did and all the projects that you did, but really highlighting the 2 main ones that will help you get the job. The next paragraph you should have is another experience you've had related to data analysis. If you don't have one, this is a great place to put a data project that you've done. Write in detail how you came up with the hypothesis, cleaned the data, ran the analyses, and then communicated results through a paper or a slide deck. Remember to showcase the relevant skills that you have as a future data analyst. If you're also writing about a data analysis project, make sure you have this in your portfolio. More on that shortly. Finally, you can wrap up your cover letter reinstating your interest in the position and a short summary of why you're qualified and interested in the position. You also need to write where they can contact you, such as your email address. You may think that recruiters will not look at your cover letter because they have so many resumes to read. But if you do get an interview, later on down the line, the hiring manager will want to look at a cover letter and see your interest for the company. It's good to write a cover letter that's about 3/4 of the page, not too long and also not too short. Remember that you're not supposed to write bullet points, but full sentences. Now we will look at 2 different data analysis portfolios online. This will help you see examples of how you can structure your website so that you can include this in your resume and your application to jobs. In your portfolio, you should highlight the data analysis skills that you've picked up, such as programming and writing reports on the findings that you have. It's also good to have about 3 projects, so you can showcase the range that you have in your skills. So let's go look at these data analytics portfolios. I found this website by Career Foundry, which also has a data analytics certificate. And we can see here that there are a few different examples of profiles that we can look at. So first, we're going to look at the first 2. So this is Claudia's. She's a data analyst and data scientist. We can see what she's passionate about here and the services that she has. These are the skill sets that she has. She can create interactive infographics, and she's also a front-end web developer. So for your video, you could put the different skill sets that you have in the programming languages that you know, such as SQL, R, and Python, as well as a data visualization tool like Tableau or Looker. And then you can put your skill sets. This is optional though. You can also see she puts the About Me section. You can also write your education and why you're interested in data analytics. And you can see here that she has her portfolio like this. Let's see. Okay, so you can click on the dashboard, which shows the key performance indicators. So you can see the goal, result, and project duration. This is also a helpful breakdown to have, so you can help your audience see exactly what you did and how long it took. You have to have some examples like these. This is a dashboard, and you can see different metrics that she created. Also writes the research question, how can I optimize the sales funnel? So you can see a little bit of detail that she puts to explain what data she has and what she's answering. It's important to have clear data visualizations because you want to show your employer, your future employer, what you can do with their data, and make sure that it's legible and that people who are interviewing you will understand what you're trying to convey. You can see she answers different questions here, and she writes a little bit of a summary of what she recommends. You can go through this in more detail later. Overall, this is a pretty good website. You can see that it's very clear. She's a data analyst. She has 4 different projects here. We'll look at another portfolio. Let's look at Harrison's. So this is his website, and you can see right away where to go for projects. You can see that he has multiple projects, which is good. It shows his range, and let's click on one. So he writes it through a Medium article. If you are a good writer, you can also publish on Medium. So this is just a website where people who are interested in different subjects can write articles about it. Let's take a look at one of his Python projects. So this one here, it leads to his GitHub. So this is something that you should also do. You will link your portfolio to GitHub, and this is where you can put your code. See, for example, he has all of his Python code for this project. And having your examples of the Python code will show employers that you know how to write Python. And you put a plot here and give some description about what he did. You don't need to have this many examples of projects, but it is good to have at least 3. 2 of the websites that I recommend to make your portfolio are Weebly and Wixsite. Both of them are free to start your website. And I use them personally for my portfolio, and they work great. So how will you build your own data analysis portfolio? You can use Kaggle to download data sets that you're interested in working with. If you're interested in finance, you can choose data sets with sales and revenue data. Thanks for asking your questions on my Instagram account, Data by Day. One of the main questions I received is, what can you put on your application if you don't have any relevant experience? One of the main things you should remember is that you probably do have some relevant data analysis experience. Anything in this list could be included in your application because they're relevant skills for data analysis. If you're really sure you don't have any experience, this is the time to gain some. Take online classes such as in Codecademy, Data Camp, or just watch YouTube. I recommend using the free classes online first. And if you've exhausted all of those resources, then you can move to the paid ones. If you do want a paid option, you can use Google's Data Analytics Certificate. You want legit ones like this, General Assembly, and Career Foundry because these will count more on your resume. And remember to put your projects with the context of the project, the action you took, and the result of how you benefited the company. Data analyst projects span across marketing, sales, finance, and product teams. If you've worked in any of these departments, you probably worked with some data. I personally use a Word document to make a resume and cover letter. I have linked it below in the description so you have an example of a resume. You can also use Canva, which has plenty of free resume templates. I also received questions from people who are in health and sciences who want to move to tech. You will need to frame your experience to make it more relevant to the data analyst role. For example, a biology research position may have tasks where you input data or you use the data as evidence in research papers. Make sure you highlight when you work with data and numbers. This will help show that you're detail-oriented and you have an analytical mindset. Specifically for tech companies, they want to know that you can work at a fast pace and can manage multiple changing priorities. So many postings ask for so much more than SQL, Excel, and Python. What gives? These are useful skills of a data analyst, but there's so much more that comes with the role. You'll also need to know how to work with the data, not just know the code and what packages to use. As I mentioned, you will have to present to teams, and this involves a lot of relationship management because you're working with stakeholders who want different things from your analyses. A common ask on job descriptions is to be able to work on critical business insights. This means that you'll be working across the company to influence decisions, working with operations to improve efficiency, working with finance to show return on investment, and potentially the product team, where you can see the satisfaction rates of your consumers. Job descriptions generally ask for work with dashboards. They want to know that you can create static reports and interactive dashboards where people can look at the data and understand immediately what it might mean. This involves having data visualization skills as well as storytelling sense so that people can understand why you're asking the data analysis question and what are the recommendations. There's a lot to learn, but it's good to start with the technical tools first and then pick up the other pieces along the way. Applying to jobs takes a lot of time and effort, so don't be discouraged if you don't get interviews right away. This just means that you need to iterate on your resume and your application materials. Good luck!